Hi, this is Kim and welcome to my channel for the Stretch the Sketch video hop. As you can see, this month's sketch is has a background square with a large banner and photos. I'm going to stretch this into a 2-page layout. I'm going to use craft paper as my background piece. I'm using pictures from a trip to Disney World where my daughter had a meet and greet with Merida. So the colors in the picture that are really dominant are the green and the blue, and then of course her red hair. So I pulled out some cardstock and created that little bullseye that's in one of the pictures that I wanted to use. And then I went back to my stash and found this orange pattern paper that I'm going to use for my banner. I felt like it kind of brings out the color of her hair in the pictures and kind of works with that. So I kind of liked how that matched together. And then I found some green and blue pattern paper with a very subtle pattern to use in the layout. The blue is going to be that background block. And I'm just cutting it here down to size. I think I ended up cutting it to like a 10 by 8 on one side and about that much on the other side, depending on how long that banner needed to be. So, but the pattern paper, it's, I don't even know the name of it. I've had it for quite a while. It's from my stash. And I just like that it wasn't a plain cardstock paper. It had a very subtle pattern to it. So here I'm marking out where I want my banner to be on the page where I want it to end and stretch across to, and then I'm going to mark that and then do the same thing with the blue paper so I know exactly how far I want it to come across the page. And so I'm getting all that marked, and once I do that, I'll cut those down and I'll cut the banner end of that orange and white printed piece. Again, don't know the name of that paper. I've had it in my stash for a while, but it's something I've always loved. It's just a different, bright and colorful piece. So once I get the little banner in, cut here, and I just did that by determining how far I wanted to cut and wanted that little banner flag to be, and then I bent the papers back to the side so it'd be even on both sides, and I'll get all of that glued down, and then I'm going to take my pictures out and decide which ones I want to use in this layout. I love working with my Disney pictures. There's so many to choose from our trip a few years ago, and this meet and greet that my daughter had was just one of the most memorable activities that we did. The character was very interactive with her and just carried on a conversation, acted like they were long lost friends, and she just enjoyed it a lot. And it's in one of the character meets that like I said, stood out to both of us and we'll always remember. So here are the pictures, and I'm just deciding which ones I want. And I decided to take this green paper that's patterned, and it's going to be a background behind 2 of the pictures. So I'm just getting all the pictures laid out here. And then once I decide where I want them to go, I take these 2 pictures on the either end, and I'm going to back those with that green pattern paper just to bring out the green in my daughter's shirt and in the other parts of the background. And it also kind of anchors those 2 pictures on either end. I didn't necessarily want to frame around all the pictures, and I didn't want to add another block of paper on top of that banner because I wanted it to show through. So now I'm just getting everything lined up and everything glued down. And then I'm going to go back to my stash. And as you'll notice, that bullseye gets moved around a lot. I can't really decide where I want it to go until about the end. But I get everything glued down. And then I go to my stash and I start to look for embellishments. And one of the things that I have quite a few of are wood veneer arrows. So I'm going to pull those out in just a second, along with the word magic from my Simple Stories Say Cheese collection, and start to create my title. There I am moving that bullseye around a little bit, and finally this is where it's going to end up, right here in the top corner, kind of nestled in. I have that, the bullseye part, the red part is actually a little Mickey head. I try to include a little hidden Mickey on all of my Disney pages. It's just a fun thing, I think, to add in, because if you go to the parks, there are hidden Mickeys everywhere. So I like to try to include those somewhere in on the pages. So here I am with the little wood veneer arrows, putting those around and getting those set just to kind of draw your eye across the page. And just because the scene, the pictures has to, has the bow and arrow activity there that she enjoyed. So just a little fun embellishment to put across the page and include. And then once I get those set, I'm going to put my title down on that bottom right corner. So I use Magic, which is from the Simple Stories collection, Say Cheese. And then I find in my stash some orange letters to put the word pure for Pure Magic. So that's going to be my title. And then once I get that set, I start working on my journaling block. And I went through different things, and I finally decided on this yellow and white striped paper, and I'm really happy with it. And I get it set, and then I'm making a little embellishment a little cluster to go over that little section that's in between the two pictures where the papers kind of all come together. I want to cover that up. So I find a sticker from the Say Cheese collection, and it has a little arrow on it. It says, "Love this." And then I have these Maggie Holmes little word strips, and in gold that I find two other little word phrases, and I put those together to create a little embellishment cluster. And just to add to it, I will also bring back in the green and blue cardstock and punch two little Mickey heads to go behind this, just to add to the embellishment cluster. I have enough arrows on the page. There's a heart on the cards. Well, it's not a cardstock sticker. It's just a sticker. But on the sticker. And I didn't want to add a heart or anything like that. But the little Mickey heads in the green and blue just kind of add to it and tie those colors back in. So just getting my words picked out here and the embellishment made, and then I'll get the Mickey heads put on. I had pulled out the Say Cheese little enamel dots, thinking that I would put those on the page, but they really didn't go with this layout as well as I wanted them to. So you see them there in the bottom left-hand corner, but I end up putting those away. And so here I am just punching out the Mickey heads, and then we'll put that down. But going back to my journaling block, I get that all set, and I write my journaling out, and then I'm trying to put some more on the page, and I end up getting black ink on that journaling spot. So once I get this set, you'll see that the journaling block is going to go from that yellow and white stripe, which I really liked, to a white paper with lines and my journaling on it. So it will switch here in just a second, but that's because I had a little accident with some ink or paint and had to switch that out. So we'll see that in just a minute. But then I also took these little star sequins and just sprinkled those around to add a little bit of embellishment on this bottom left corner, and then up toward that bullseye in the top right corner, just to kind of add a little sparkle, add a little something to it. When I use craft and cardstock, it just seems kind of plain, so I wanted to add to that. So I get those glued down, and then here I am with my journaling, and I get that all written out. But then we have the accident, and I end up changing that. So, but once I get my journaling set and changed out, I'm pretty much done with the layout, and I just double check everything to make sure it's secured. And then I added these, I did have my sewing machine set up, so I added these little stitch marks with my pen. It's on the layout. It just kind of anchors that left-hand side. And so I just used this cutting mat as a ruler and made little stitch marks So once I get those stitch marks drawn on, I'm pretty much done, and I put it together here, give it one more look, and that's how I stretched the sketch for this month. I really enjoyed this layout, and this is just a closer look to see the embellishments and the wood veneer on each page. And like I said, I enjoyed this one. I used it again on a 6x12 layout that I'm going to show here in just a second. Another Disney layout. And I feel like it's a real easy sketch to use and change around. I may even turn it and use it vertically where the banner's going vertically down the page and try another layout. This is the 6x12 layout that I used mostly Seichi's Simple Stories collection on, but just another quick layout that I could put together. You don't see the banner quite as much because I tried to put 2 pictures on this page, but with a little embellishment areas, the rounded embellishment at the top. Like I said, it's a layout I like, and I'll probably use it again a couple more times in different ways. So thanks for joining us, and enjoy the video hop.